Hello, I'm Adam Roxby and this is the Sunday Matinée for July 2014. The Sunday Matinée is a monthly cultural event where I have the privilege of introducing some of the best local talent around. After a short hiatus where we were changing venues to the brand new Slack space located in Colchester's old police station, we're now back with a brand new style and a whole new showcase. So here with the Sunday Matinée in July, the first Sunday Matinée in Slack Space's new location. One of the performers, Vbran, going to be playing some music. How do you feel about it?
Well, I'd say music on a very loose ends. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. A bit nervous. My second time performing ever, and the first time was really drunk, so it doesn't count. So it should be. Can't promise it being good, but it'll be interesting.
Matt, an open mic thing, so hey, bear with me. And I'm going to read you a poem that is entitled "That's Entertainment." Okay. Turn on, tune in, watch Mr. Jeremy Kyle propagate his own particular brand of bile. An audience primed and ready to clap, hiss and boo. Peek through the bars, Homo sapiens zoo. 15 minutes of debatable fame. A cog in the mindless TV show game. Unfortunate losers in the human race. The other side of the human face. Endless miscreants come through the door. Yeah, I may be a slut, but she's a whore. Unhappy but incapable of changing their fate. Faces contorted with bitterness and hate. Creatures inhabiting a self-made cage. Life's merely a game and this their stage. Unable or unwilling to accept cold hard truth. Let's blame everything on a troubled youth. In fact, let's not carry the can or take the fall. If it's good for celebs, then it's good for us all. So bring on the gladiators, let's all spy. Ultimately, you decide whether to laugh or cry. They screech and they scream, they swear and they shout. Then they try to knock each other out. Someone's been sleeping with their aunt's sister's son. Alas, the confusion has begun. Incest, you see, that makes him her brother, and she's about to become her cousin's mother. Feckless possible fathers, once long gone. Now's the time for them to swagger on. And here it comes, the DNA. Could this be your lucky day? Sex, drugs and alcohol do their damage and take their toll. Fractured families, broken lives, bastard babies, cheating wives, errant husbands, uncontrollable kids, thieving teens and suicide bids. It's surely a myth that ignorance is bliss and problems can be solved with words and a kiss. So bring it on, that all-important lie detector test. For this is light entertainment at its very best. Thank you.
Well, if a certain man called Simon walked up to you, said, hey, you want to get famous? We'll party all day, every day, and end up millionaires. Who would say no? Well, that's kind of the problem. He can ask anyone that he wants, regardless if they have any talent or not. And in a dark, back, muggy boardroom, Simon says, if you can't sing or use auto-tune, doesn't matter, as long as all the girls get a crush on you. Doesn't matter what your voice sounds like, as long as all the guys think you look alright and will take you and will exploit you. And that's just what we do. We're a major record label, let's make some money out of you. In case you haven't guessed, the Simon I'm talking about is Simon Caranchanoz. Everybody in the audience called Simon. That could have been a very awkward first couple of minutes. I do apologise there. So forget the topless boy band photo shoots, cause you're not really stars. It's your image, not your music, that makes you who and what you are. As long as you keep making records, singing song after song. We don't care if you're only famous, because you don't mind not having any clothes on. So come on. And back in his dark back muggy boardroom, Simon says, if you can't sing or use auto-tune, it doesn't matter, as long as all the girls get a crush on you. It doesn't matter what your voice sounds like, as long as all the guys think you look alright, we'll take you and we'll exploit you. And that's just what we do. We're a major record label, let's make some money out of you. As long as you keep watching X Factor, we'll keep making money out of you. Thank you very much. This is called Moral Hypocrisy. So, when Nigel Farage sits there smiling with his cigarette and his beer, I think he forgets how his hobbies are made with endless blood, sweat and tears. Of workers both home and abroad who are working their lives away, and what for? In next to nothing financially, and just get greeted by UKIP's go home signs scattered around our shores. So if we look to the past, maybe for a lesson, to help us decide what's fair, we might stop conveniently forgetting all the countries we've bombarded and the things we did when we were there. You think India liked our culture? When we came and we treated them as slaves, we justified it by our self-proclaimed pedestal, and we pointlessly destroyed them until nothing remained. We've started numerous wars over nothing, we've wrecked countless indigenous lives, and now millions face mortal danger daily. We don't even have the decency to empathise. We had a national ego that was made strong by conquering. We used innocent suffering for our own gain. So we could grow into a powerful nation, we could be the ones with a hand on the world's reins. So next time that you see an immigrant, don't think of him as taking something that's yours. Everything that makes us what we are is stolen from his empty glass. If he comes here and he pays his taxes, and if he comes here to work hard, I think that we should be the ones saying sorry for being so desperately quick to discard all the terrible things that we have done to reach this stage of time's path, and all the evil, atrocious amorality that's left his country scarred. The fact that when he comes here to seek refuge, we don't give him our open arms. Instead, we mutter about how he should F off back home under the guidance of Nigel Farage. The fact kids are taught British values to which they should all aspire, and the fact that unfortunately some of our kids turn out to be xenophobic, racist liars. The fact that after wrecking his country and his life, all that we can say is that he's the one that's done us wrong, and that he's the one who deserves to pay. So Nigel Farage may sit there on Question Time, and he may well give it all what for. But until 14 million killer Romanian gangs come and move into the house next door, I'm not going to take him seriously. In fact, I would rather make a stand that the world would be a better place if we dropped the anger, the violence and the hate, and instead we just held hands. Thank you very much. So this is a song called What Would Jesus Cut? On a certain David Cameron was our Prime Minister when I wrote this song. Maybe he won't when I sing it again. And here's eating chaps tearing the country round and round once more. The comedian Mr. Johnson, the City of London's mayor, and bedroom tax, welfare cuts, and the list could go on forever and a day. Well, I've got a question for those Tories, mainly just for Dave. What would Jesus cut if he came and saw the state that we are in? Do you really think he'd tell you that it's fine to hit poor? Your greed is not a sin, so shame on you. You like decent work under your shell. You hope for your sake, your enemy that religious, but I think a God would mind making cuts to result in poverty, but only giving £40,000 a year tax cuts to your own kind. And thou shalt not kill, let's ask Atos about that one. And thou shalt not steal, but the Royal Mail is already gone. What would Jesus cut if he came and saw the state that we are in? Do you really think he'd tell you it's fine to hit poor? Your greed is not a sin, so shame on you. You lying piece of work under your shell. And I hope for your sake your Royal Mail shares are valid down in hell. What would Jesus cut if he came and saw the state that we are in? Sustain pedals are working properly, it's really fucking. And do you really think he'd tell you that it's fine to hit the poor? And your greed is not a sin. So shame on you, you lying piece of work under your shell. Well, I hope for your sake your NHS shares. I hope for your sake your NHS shares. Yes, I hope for your sake your NHS shares are valid down in hell. Thank you very much.
That's me done. Thank you.
Where now and nothing less, looking for the life of which you obsess. It can be changed, but should I bother? This life is just like any other, sedacity and disarray. But dear mother died today. Reflecting sunshine on the blade of his knife, turn away as he take his life. Stop to think as he hit the floor.
depressing and sad one. It's called Yesterday's Child. But interesting to see stuff that's a bit different. You know, guy freaking out on the bassoon would be interesting to see, especially if you can't play the bassoon. This is a fairly new poem I wrote 2 days ago, so excuse the little sheet here. So it's called The Artist, and it's just about a composite of all the creative types and artists kind of mixed into one. So yeah, here we go. It's called The Artist. Big dreams of a lighted stage, a songbird in a rusted cage. The blessed artist is turning the page for the ink to spell out all of his rage. The artist, a poet, a beggar, a whore, perverted virgin who cuts it raw, clenching a cigarette, sits on the floor, dying to die, a part of folklore. Simple pleasures are far too complex. The artist enjoys to live to perplex, carries his head to turn all the necks. He finds sheer beauty in what others reject. Offering truth is a job for the brave. The artist aways the cold calm of his grave. Once a petulant child who refused to behave, now just another one, passive as slave.
The artist paints a sordid picture, berates and hates the rotten structure. His fragile mind, a compound fracture, is longing for a long due rapture. The artist says he's biding time, swiftly slipping from his prime. But who will spare him a dime when day will come when he can't rhyme?
My name is Luke, this is the lovely Esme, and we are Domestic, and we're here to do a couple of poems, really, so let's get going. This first one is called Embrace the Reputation.
Okay, hang on. Ugh, just look at him crawl through the door now, drenched and draped in the usual suspects, a stringy fabrication of a mod icon and dyed-out jeans, with copper shreds of evidence of musical fandom, with his hired goons and an unsuspecting victim. What on earth was any of us thinking, associating with the devil with such a bad reputation?
Isn't it such a strange phenomenon, ladies and gentlemen? When the wind blows near the gaggle of salty girls, and their cries are being carried in the wind. Sounds a lot like comic book fantasies and soap opera scripts. I couldn't even get to that persona and act out any of this crap. Summer milkshake serenades in the park, or winter breakfast tea sessions on my settee. A strange thing to turn into a sex addict's soliloquy. Just gotta grin and bear it and embrace their reputation. Just embrace their reputation, just embrace it. Just be the reputation, just gotta crash straight into the dive. Skinfully clad in a lazy supernova persona. Wipe the dirty glares off my cheek and dance to the soundtrack of their little comments. Yeah, I'm a Casanova and I love it, and I'm an arsehole and I cherish it. Whatever helps you swallow that bitter little dose. Wash down with a stolen 2-for-1 Savers brand cider. Just gotta embrace their reputation, just embrace it. Just live the reputation. You just gotta turn this parole into a riot. I'll shoot your clan a look and you'll love it. I'll tell you to fuck off and you'll like it. Articles and articles of bullets for you to play with. Join your Facebook war caller moments. You'll amass tomes upon tomes of poetry, filling in the blanks of my non-existent crimes. I mean, if it gives you joy, I'll be happy to indulge you and embrace their reputation. Thank you. Alright, this next one is, have we decided on a title? Alright, this next one is called Mutual Whatever.
Kisses seal my letter of appreciation, the timeless touch of blushing pilgrims passed down through the ages. 4 full kisses you lent me, after months of me trying to steal them. I'll try and hold on to this day, for as long as your lips allow me to.
Oh, I'm sorry, dear, but the kiss just jumped right out of me. Just trying to find a brief connection or a foothold for these feelings. It wasn't an admittance, but a substitution. My loneliness was an orbital pull, and you were just unlucky to be in the proximity. Don't get me wrong, the gloss on your lips is honey, not vinegar, but I'm not a fly.
Does a kiss mean nothing at all to you?
With her, there are exchanges of dying embers. With you, it's like trying to ignite wet, weeping wood.
Typical of you to provide lackluster ignition and then blame the fuel.
Well, so typical of you to get hung up on just what is a meeting of flesh upon flesh and tongue upon cheek.
Goosebumps stood raised on my arm, ready to tell what you were too blind to see. My flesh was fueled by fantasies of what we could be. Desperate indulgences feel real when we're only speaking with our lips.
Well, can't you just give your kisses back to me? Fill those blank spaces in your memory. Cover my indiscretions with shared moments of a platonic nature. I'm not ready for one action to define our whole relationship, my dear. So please, just don't throw us away on a kiss. Doing pretty good so far. Yes. Should we do Stephen? Alright, this is still a WIP, as it were. So we're going to try it out. This next one is called Thieving.
I still remember the first job we ever did together. It was smack dab in the middle of May.
We were gorging on the successes of telling our employers cleverly fabricated tales. One which told of our valiant bout of our immune systems, succumbing to the intent of the flu invaders.
We stopped by the local pub to relive the true illness, one that had taken captive of our warmth and affection, a 9-to-5 shift at the local call centre, just to get by.
The look of boredom on your face just cut right through me. My promises of a 3-star Chinese takeaway as a cuisine to the debut of the new series of Big Brother just no longer lit any passion inside of me. As if possessed by your intent, I got off from my stool in the bar and I grabbed a box of crisps from behind the bar. and then gave you a wink from behind the bar.
The clang of the bells run through my spine. It brings my hairs to a rigid salute. It gives me shivers, charging every joint in my body, and a grin to my face, the first one I've felt in ages, as we dash to the nearest alleyway for refuge, illuminated by the red and blue.
It was never about the heist, it was never about the loot. It was just that thrill of getting away with you. Slamming the front door behind us so hard that the frame shook, and slumping down on the other side like the sweat on our brows. Pumping more oxygen through our bodies in a single day than we ever have in a year of back-to-back TV nights in. Eating the Monster Munch we stole from the Goat and Boot that night somehow made the X Factor finals just a little more tolerable that night.
And now here we are years later, sitting on IKEA summer deals, keeping our obedient eyes on ITV around 5:30. We might as well be dead as flies take hostage in our mouths. Oh hubby, can't it be as it was before? The thrill of dodging a 3-month prison sentence while toting a basket of paninis we won't even eat.
I hear your pleas loud and clear as we fade away into the leather of our seats. So next time we go on our monthly trial, a silent 20-minute torture down to the big Tesco's, I'll grab that box containing the latest Furby toy from the shelf, and I'll throw a wink your way to confirm your suspicions. You'll start to vibrate up and down with excitement as we both start heading towards the door. I wouldn't take a penny without you there.
I wouldn't scrump a crumb if you're not around.
It's the only thing we had in common.
It's the only way to stop feeling so sullen.
Thank you. Right, add that to the set list then. The news cut through the deepest part of me. Nights and nights spent hand in hand amidst the clean slate, stitching together our little plans and steps to glory, reduced a plastic knife stuck in the dragon's knee in just one sentence. Oh baby, I couldn't imagine spending my time without you. Buying bread knowing I'm not making you toast just seems pointless, while you rise to the next league in human evolution in another land. Looking at me in my second-hand leather jacket, fiddling with the pennies in my pocket. Night after night, you'll forget our curbside midsummer debates, putting the worlds to rights and etching my heart in blood in the concrete. By comparison, my sonnets will be reduced to a Daily Star article. My kisses will feel silver while the greetings will feel like gold. I guess I'll lay the final right now. May our love not end in a bang, but a whimper of the echoes of unfulfilled promises and sweet nothings.
If you feel you cannot merit your worth to me, in the midst of piles of gold and spoils, smearing my crown with the blood under my fingernails, as I stroke it from atop my platinum ladder, then that one's all on you, my dear. Kisses are timeless and sonnets scar the hippocampus. If your insecurity places a brace on your tongue, and your pride forces sorrow when you should feel joy, then let me shed your remnants from my skin as I take off to claim elements unknown as my own.
Thank you. Are we taking the piss for one more? Nah. Last one, I promise. Just a man? Yeah, definitely. This next one's called Just a Man.
Right. They knew you as Brocast Baxter from the shadows of the estate. The classic story of a candy wrapper tainting a cherry blossom garden, with your beat-up leathers and monochrome dyed trainers, and with one rogue blonde curl that no force was able to keep down. The way you teeter your cigarette left and right when the gears turn, and the little cracks in your laugh when something was especially hysterical. I always noticed them all from the corner of the snooker hall. So when your eyes wandered, trying to track down the ignition for your fag, I jumped at the chance, just for an excuse to give you my name. I can't get enough of the way you sway in the queue. Who knows what ideas you're plotting in that little mind of yours, miles and miles away before the line starts to move, and maybe you can take me there one day. I snuck out by the bathroom window on a waxing crescent moon. I met you outside the snooker club, but there wasn't much to do. So you led me through the wire traps and we end up at the coast. I perch on seaside debris, clutching the last tin you gave to me, and you begin to tell tales of old sweethearts and rebellious youth. The content may have felt short, but God, it's just you tell it so well. I push the fat of my cheeks up and make sure every inch of you is in my gaze. I couldn't give a fuck about what you're chatting. It's just the way you tell it, hun. And maybe I want to listen to you every day.
My dear, can't you see all your fallacies are false? Can't you see I'm just a man?
But can't you see you're so much more than a man to me?
Well, let's see if you share that opinion later on still. When you peer at me through the cracks of the door and you catch me in the midst of an or an It doesn't matter how much you take my fables and stitch together a GIF-set idol. It's all just a character to get excited about, another one to exaggerate in prose on lonely nights. How much of me do you want to see?
I want to see straight through you and everything that makes you.
Are you prepared to wince and sigh? Are you prepared to not be amazed by something that makes me?
You got me to come this far. I want to discover everything you could be. I just hope you feel the same thing for me.
First poem on an envelope. It's just good stuff. I don't have any paper with me, but I've memorised this poem, but it's just always handy to have in front of you just in case you lose your place. Or, anyway, I am Vbran, Caranchanoz, Ceerinsoz. The name was invented. I phonetically sounded out some 3 words and I put them into an anagram website, and it came out as Vbran, Caranchanoz, Ceerinsoz. I thought I'd process it again, and the other anagram is Hosanna, Brazen, Sar, Convincer, which is my other alias, more sort of religious and political material. But Vbran, Caranchanoz, Ceerinsoz is more about ideas of language, really, different coded languages, and, alliterative languages, and stuff like that. So this is called titillation. Tightly tipping toes, tinctured tadpole teens, torment tangled timpani tuning toilet toads that teeter towards tonally tickled tattoos. Thwarting teeny tiny Tim thanks telepathy. Twisted telepathy tricked Tanya the tantalizing teenage touring troupe. Twitching to think the tank of the thanking Timbali. This thistle tipped inwards, inside inky insects, imagined ideas, imagined. Inside trembly, inorderly teapots. Traipsing in the intercepted trails, talking to trees intermittently. It's inverted to immobile trinkets. Is this invention to inadvertent trisectors inside tingling inwardly tinsel? Alright, that's enough of the ukulele today, because I usually play the ukulele more than the mandolin. So, alright, this is a new poem. It's kind of a it is a conceptual piece. It's just on a kind of a. Because what I do is I practice like chanting in tongues or like improvised poetry. Like the equivalent of speed writing, but just thinking. But a technique that I use sometimes is called rhyme conversion, which is, anyone can do it. It's just basically using rhymes, but like converting the words into another rhyme of a similar sound. You just look for as many combinations is fine. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 5 or 6. It's just interesting to look at. So rhyme conversion. Try it at home when you're half asleep in a lucid dreaming state or something. Pleasurable incantations, foundations, folding, scolding, skin, flapping whilst napping, film, screening, meaning, meandering, handling, mandolin, sneaking, sleep, keeping, teak, take, cake, wake and bake, fake, cake, snake, lake, deed, bleed, freed, mead, blinking torch, plank on porch, ghost in mid-air, host quiet, contraire, boast, might, fair, help, tear, fibre, kelp, scared, tiger, and squelchy, and felching, squeaky, and belching, incalculable, unnecessary, less, inaccurate, underestimated, guess, systematic, synergy, sequence, sassy, silly, sequence, high-pitched frequency, nigh-stitch, delinquency, keeping, bleak, meeting, sleeping, meek, heating, bleeping, meek, bleating, treating, teak, seating, wide hope, wide scope, tied up hope, fried pup broke, prize stuff choked, realised enough, broke, and take a little toke, tie a little knot, fried, fryer, a little snot, hired man shot, fried, tan, scoff, borrowed man broke, worried man spoke, I melted, bespoke, custard before I sweltered, soaked, mustard, swelling well, dwelling hell, fell in bell, seldom gel, seldom well, yes, I'm seldom well. Thank you. This last one is a slightly more romantic piece, in that it's an ode to a substance called methylene dioxyamphetamine, which is of course in the same family as amphetamine and ecstasy, MDMA, but it's slightly different. It's a psychedelic stimulant, and it lasts for about 18 hours. It's like being on ecstasy and LSD at the same time. It's quite pleasant. This is just the way your mind can wander sometimes with alliteration. MDA. Methylene dioxyamphetamine, MDA. Metaphorical microbiorganisms meander meticulously. Missing Mayan, mystical mystery. Musty, muscles muster mistiness. Mending marriage, bending carriage, lending disparaged spending bears salmon to eat. Poor countries have famine to treat. Disastrous danger dignifies diligence. Dreaded, desolate death dynamics. Desperate, distracting, desirable destitution. Diagnosis terrible, mitosis confirmable, hypnosis transferable, referable, documentation rarely applies, treacherous dealer barely supplies. Alpha Aardvark approach an archangel. Arabic archaic atrocities aggravate. Arbitrary aqueduct acquires arguments. Animism animates allotments. Contaminate chocolate. Retaliate and eliminate your enemy. Don't commemorate or reconciliate his family. Menacing memories mesmerize miserably. Debutant debunks deceitful deception. Assiduous abhorrent abrasive asphyxia. My dangerous aunt meticulously delivers asparagus, more dead acorns, mutated disease, apprehension, methylene, dioxy, amphetamine. Alright, that's all for me. You can find Vbran, Caranchanoz, Ceerinsoz on most things like YouTube, and Facebook and Twitter. If you just type in Vbran, which is Vbran, and then put C space C. I think you'll find it. Thanks.
The chickens. I wouldn't dare sing to you. The chickens. Skyline, blackbird flying up and perching poised in a luminous porch of leaves. Blinking beautiful the treetops. When all at once the sky lowers, a grey pigeon clappity flap soars on the dull arc of its heavy mission. A gull describes a serene sector with sabre wings, its tower a clear spiral mounting and melting in air. Voracity of a kestrel on the newt, a heron sent to the carp, herbivorous greed and raw meat hunger, form and function in flight from eons old awkward Archaeopteryx origins. Birdsong, trills, chirrups, airs that give delight and hurt not. If you hope to be happy, harm not a fowl today if you hope to be happy. Now, funnily enough, there's a chicken in this next poem too, but not in quite the same terms. La Herradura is a town I went to on holiday in Spain, where there's a famous shipwreck, which I've totally ignored in this poem. But it was fiesta time. Woken by cockcrow, in a bad glass, the flawless Mediterranean lay askew. Turning, it levelled. Last night we played at being on the bridge here of a ship high above the beach and town. A sparrow touches down on the balcony bar, springs up, off and away. Fiesta starts with church bells, cannon, dodgems, sun. Disco and fairground beats compete, reverberating in the heat of day. Too soon for us to go, and not too late to stay. Thank you. This comes after that, and it's called Hands Over Spain, but it might have been called Fear of Flying. Picked out in the reading light, up in the air, hands over Spain resemble Dura's hands in prayer. Distorted, veined, old age, the gain of wisdom pacing with its pain. Some old or no religion in its hat. No matter though, the hands lie flat. What things by them are made. Opposing thumbs or fingers splayed. Hand-eye coordinates by mind upraised. While on an aeroplane some casual phrase, no angel eye. I know not how, O love, we fly, and truly duly sit upright as the lace of streets below rises towards the wings that slow, extruding wheels on which we land, and that, at least, we understand. So this is called Cathy Bonetto's Departure, and she was the absolute standard for English grammar and English usage. You know, she was an enthusiast for. In fact, her friends for her 60th birthday painted apostrophes in the road signs that said Colchester, England's oldest recorded town. England's oldest recorded town. Cathy Bonetto's Departure. I cannot turn a sonnet since Cathy doffed her bonnet. Cannot pass her garden gate without a thought of the sad fate which took her out of our cognizance. And is it true we only live once? She, for language legendary, in heaven needs no dictionary. Thank you.
So I've got 3 things for you. I quite like, when I do these things, to look back over old stuff. And I wrote this many years ago. For those of you who are old enough, for the victims of Shabra and Shatila in Lebanon, but somehow it seems horribly relevant all over again. So it's called Death of an Unknown Civilian. The grief-stricken, dead, wrecked, pyrotechnic blast of bad conscience, bad faith and old wars has still enough stink to make soldiers, whores and politicians mark to the manic, slow beat of remembrance. The pop-eyed panic and the unknown and irrelevant cause was unsided death in the minute pause between will and word, beyond technique. So, spill blood or spit spew, it's all the same. Wrap the tourniquet tight round my upper arm to raise the vein. Give me a flag to wave. The earth reeks cordite. Paper's facile blame will beat us with calculated alarm and memories to a forgotten grave. The events in this poem are, to the best of my knowledge, true. It's called No Man's Land. In the unofficial safety of a shell hole, anonymity, displacement, disorientation, in a battle with no name now, the conscious cutting of the cords of history, 3 men met, rankless, spattered, believing themselves already dead, as they felt their young hearts pounding, became friends for life. A suave, semi-pro ballroom dancer, code, I think, for something unseemly. A Scots guard, an artist and inventor of my grandfather. He unburdened just once, told my mother so she would know and never ask again. And now, as age slows her, releases memories, frees her from unspoken promises of discretion, she tells me. These volunteers, these survivors, who attempted to empty their memories of all but comradeship, are easy to call heroes when they are almost victims, bit part players. 3 days they hid and wandered, unsure which way was their own wire, who to shout out at for help, whether the blackness was smoke, night, or their bleak prospects. They walked on wet earth, where prints slide into indistinct pits, where tracks are distorted, where the sounds of the air are deadly, the soil unsupportive, a nonsense of memories, and the movements ceaseless, whispering, smothering and shaping, how they longed for their hated trench. Around them are bones and pieces of flesh, the stuff of life made formless. Better to be blown apart than lost, better to believe there is a way back, better to argue for the good of earth and water, to be lean and half blind and return to untamed elements. Better to crawl and scramble, embrace contact with the shifting soil, let your trail fade away behind you. These speculations are as safe as a shell hole, as freezing as arguments, as pointless as poking out your own eye. Meant less than tea, bully beef, the ability to shake and speak, smoke or be sick. He never said this part. You spin it as you see fit. All life after must be part shadow. All friends made after must seem insubstantial. The tissue of events, regiments, homes, magazines must become translucent, intimating what follows. A hedonistic dance at the edge of decency, an unspectacular career and a second war, a principled unbuckling of the old bonds in Spain and Cable Street, an anger for what left them stranded there, these long dead men, these ciphers, this act of unforgetting. When he died, he insisted he be burned, that none attend this hygienic act, no words be spoken, no mark made upon the earth or scattered to the wind, his ashes lost in the common grave. So, sat in my son's school hall, hearing a young man argue the cemeteries be kept pristine for all time, it is all I can do to keep from crying, let the grass grow long. Let the modernist ranks of headstones soften into the fields, return to the earth in which they hid, where fellows' body parts are buried still. Let them be discoveries, obscure, not hidden, not unremembered, but held less harshly. Let us admit that most of them came back, undead, diverse, craving what normal got them through the shelling, flinching at the chance remarks of the uninitiated. Let us remember ungainly, wounded survival. This is what we have to tell. This is entitled The Garden. Those of you who know Andrew Marvell might recognise some bits of it. Where winter's fingers could not touch, the spring brings bees from out their hides. The flowers bloom for them alone, abuzz with all their energies. The planet's motion and the moon snatch this rebirth from frost's retreat, this turn to colour and to life, each year unthinking and complete. The bumble burrows in a flower, his tiny senses tuned to petals. The blooms all tremble at his touch and cannot tell where he will settle. The honey dancer fills her sacs, drawn by a need she cannot name. The border is a banquet hall. Her interest is pollen grains. This garden is an artifice, encounters nature with a will, to tool and shape the way of plants, to propagate and so to kill. The bee won't tell which growth is true. A man alone will be the judge. A butterfly drinks happily. The gardener works, becomes a drudge. Nor man nor bee can track this land and leave no single mark behind. So may be traced along their path, so leaving evidence of mind. So too the rabbit and the deer, so following their appetites. To bear a hunger makes men whole, and apt to taste worldless delights. We choose what qualities increase, for these are our determination. The rules are ours, not natural, our power and discrimination. The grass we cut, the tree we prune, a plan we stamp upon the earth, to pull or place, to muddle space. A garden is a poor life's worth. So, rooted in a natural lie, this hapless shaping cannot last, is not the future of the land, is not a product of its past. Frantic response to helplessness, control and killing in a name, whatever cut or chemical will fail our purposes the same. Where do the trees of Eden thrive? Where are the lawns of Babylon? How do the Aztecs' floating fields? They all are lost, they all are gone. Why argue with the elements, resist their natural bent to change? Why fight with what you cannot win? Why seek to lose and be estranged? For happiness is not an act, and not a poem, and not a toil. Cannot be made outside the mind, is grown in meditation's soil. The bee is doomed to life on life, a slave to hungers and to greed. The gardener faces the same fate by falsely feeding a real need. I would to live without a mark, to leave this land the way I found, to leave no trail of arguments, no path worn into the sweet ground, no leaflet bent, not one twig broke, no waft of air disturbs the bees, no fright for birds, nor crush for grubs, the change of light between the trees.
Hello there. We're the Argonauts. I hope you've had as good an afternoon as we have. We've enjoyed it very much. Thank you. This first song is called Boa Constrictor. Every time I take a breath, she's a boa
you. And this song is called Time Again.
Brand new one, this one. We haven't ever played this before, so. But
Lucky people.
I want you to go. I need to see your engine. What keeps your wheels spinning? I'm ready, but I know why you're stalling. Gaining, shifting, turning. Just one yellow line. I saw you in the back of my mind. I know you were a waste of my time. I could be your get back at him. Just wind down your window so I can jump in. I'll jump in. It's a long time coming. I don't want to see you running away when I know you could be driving straight through. It's time now. You're resisting. I'm trying to park. You're placing restrictions. It's hard, I know. There's just one yellow line. I saw you in the back of my mind. I know you were a waste of my time. I could be your get back at him. Just wind down your window so I can jump in.
I've also got a song now. This one's called Whisper River.
Well, I got buffy, buffy, nothing left to eat but to say not now, not now. get there soon. Why can't you wait? I'm still confused, I'm still confused. Why can't you wait? We'll get there soon, we'll get there soon. Why can't you wait? Sunny June, sunny June.
Okay, it's the last one. Just one more. I'm fretting the jeans of the boy out there. Yeah, it's really hot.
All I can hear is the beat building up now, and your skin starts to itch. The looks feel more abrupt somehow, and you can feel the windows pinch. I know I will, you're angry with yourself and you feel your body be consumed. Perfection doesn't cut it out and it would be being rude. Somehow I will take them by the hand and lead their body through the room. So let's go now, time is wasting, and yet somehow we are still waiting, melting down like limestone in acid rain. You left here a statue but still with all the pain. 6 meters from the step and you know you got to pop it soon. I know I will, you're angry with yourself, feel your body be consumed. Perfection doesn't cut it and it will be being rude. Somehow I will take them by the hand, lead their body through the room. I'm feeling heavy-handed, like smashing marble to the ground. Feeling heavy-headed, trading rocks with my crown. Feeling heavy-handed, like smashing marble to the ground. Feeling heavy-headed, like trading rocks with my crown.
Thanks. Thanks very much. That's us done with Argonauts.
So James, the man with the camera, you looking forward to the first Sunday matinee here in its new location?
Oh yes. Yes, definitely. 100%. It's going to be awesome. 100% awesome. It's gonna be a great evening's, afternoon's entertainment.
Thanks. But with all seriousness, my thanks goes to everybody involved in the making of this matinee. Don't forget you can head on over to adamroxby.co.uk/matinee for all the matinee videos, and you can even download the high quality audio versions of this matinee and others by going to adamroxby.co.uk/bandcamp, where you can get the tracks for free or choose to support the matinee and ensure its future. Thanks once again for watching, and we'll see you all again next time.